Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Gift of Gaming podcast. If you've ever thought that there's a game you love that's just not getting enough love out there, well, we're with you. It's the underrated episode of the Gift of Gaming podcast. All right, it's me, it's your host, Darren Wade, and today, once again, for our overrated, underrated little mini-series, I've got Craig, the Critical Nolan. Craig?
How are you, Darren?
I'm good. I'm very good, actually. It's a nice summery day. Before you arrived, I was playing a bit of golf. Like video game golf, not real golf. It would have been a lovely day to play real golf.
Yeah, I know.
But I'm shit at that, so I don't do that, you know. And also joining with me today is my blood and brother, Andrew Wade. Andrew, welcome back.
Thanks for having me, Darren.
Of course, always a pleasure. How are you?
I'm good. I'm loving the good weather.
Yeah, we don't get an awful lot of it here, but the weekend and everything like that's been pretty sweet.
And that one day of absolute lashing rain in the middle of it all, just to make us remember where we are.
Yeah, keep us on our toes. So today we're going to do our underrated episodes.
Nice. Got it in one.
I almost said overrated, but we've already done that shit. But before I go on, since last week, is there any games that you guys have picked up and played at all? Or are you still stuck on your...
Well, I don't know if we ever talk about it on here, but since you mentioned it, yeah, I've been playing a lot of golf.
Switch golf, yeah.
we've all been kind of playing it a bit more just to try and get a bit more competitive with it to increase our scores, you know. Myself and yourself are into the -8 on, 9 courses, which if that was real golf would be unprecedented, I think. I don't know, actually.
I think I'd probably be at the Rory McIlroy level of golf if I could actually convert it.
I mean, I don't think
golf.
they birdie every hole, right?
No, but they tend to birdie the good golfers tend to birdie a decent amount.
But we eagle sometimes, you know.
Oh, so, we got a great eagle, yeah.
So
we also got at the weekend, yourself and myself and our good friend Niall decided to do a mammoth 18 hole. Like usually we only play like 3 or 9 holes, you know, keep it simple. But we decided to do a mammoth.
There for the audience that I'm so confused here with all these names and words and stuff that doesn't make sense to me.
Switch golf, birdie, eagles.
What? Where are these animals from?
Bogeys, double bogeys. I only learned these things because I play switch golf.
Same. I've never once watched golf in my life.
No, I'm sitting here going, I have no idea what's going on.
But we played an 18-hole mammoth session, me, Craig, and Niall, and it is a mammoth session. It took a long time to do it, but it was great because you and me got under par. You did very well. You got like -14. I got -5 or -7. I can't remember. But the game awarded us with just gold, a gold vest and a gold golf club.
Yeah, like Shooter McGavin, from fucking Happy Gilmore, going for that gold jacket. We got it legitimately.
Yeah, so I have that, and I gave my guy because the gold jacket makes him look like a real sleazy bowling player or something like that. So I gave him a dirty mustache as well, and that'll be my character from forevermore. So playing golf, I'm with you, Craig. I've been playing a bit of golf. Still on my Doom trail. I'm doing a fun Pokemon Fire Emblem playthrough still.
Nice.
I'm still nervous to fight Misty,
what level is your Oddish then?
17.
That's not enough.
It's not enough. It's not enough. There's too much risk there.
On that little console thing you have, can you speed up time?
No.
Why even play that?
It's nice. I find it relaxing.
You need 3x speed.
3x speed would be great. It would make it a lot easier just in terms of the...
you would do everything 3 times faster.
Yeah.
That's how that works.
What about you, Andrew? You playing anything?
No, still playing away in Helldivers. Just putting a blind eye to all the controversy going on and just kind of enjoying the game for what it is. So
the controversy isn't, that's nothing. That's not your fault.
No, it's not new. It's just like new game comes out, controversy. People don't agree with the devs don't agree with the people.
And it wasn't the devs' fault. That was Sony's fault.
That was crazy with Sony.
Yeah.
Absolutely
there's no point getting into it, but
No, that's an entire argument for itself.
Yeah.
But no, just playing the game, just loving the game for the sheer chaos involved in it.
We'll get around to it at some point, Craig, won't we? Helldivers 2.
No, fuck it. I'm saying it now. I would be annoyed if I was a PlayStation subscription member and I have to pay for to play Helldivers 2 and then some PC assholes can play it for free. I would be annoyed at that. So I'm kind of glad it has
happened that way.
Otherwise, just it can't be a Sony game, or we should get it for free as well. You can't just one side can't have it for free while the other people have to pay.
I get you.
That's true. That was a part of it I never considered because you have to have a PlayStation
that's surely
subscription
the reason
to play
they
online,
did it. And because you can't just go, okay, you guys on the PC can play it for free online, whereas everyone who has a PlayStation has to
have
pay.
a subscription.
Especially for a first party title, that's That's more controversial,
Yeah.
I think.
Here you go, guys. Congratulations, you're on PlayStation. We're going to charge you more.
Like originally, it was a case because I know they had disabled it at the start because they expected like 40, 50,000 players to be playing it, and then it turned into, Jesus, at one point there was 850,000 people trying to get onto the servers.
Yeah.
So they had to disable it for that because they couldn't keep the load. Was just too, like they had other things, the issues that they had actually said, yeah, we're just disabling that now for the time being. But yeah, no, it's obviously come back now, and PC players are not too happy about it.
Yeah,
well, I would be unhappy if they reverse it. So you can't do that either. So,
they won't reverse it at this stage because it's been delisted in all the countries that you can't get a PlayStation Plus subscription. So I think they've just made their bed with it, you know. But you know, Helldivers is a game that is certainly not considered underrated.
No, and it won't be on this list.
Yep. Thanks for my segue, way to go, me, for segueing into the next little turn. So Andrew, I guess you know, I think we kicked off with Craig last week, and he started off pretty heavy.
I know, but you came in on hot on me, like, for some reason. Like, I was like all aggression then from then on.
Yeah, it's true. So what have you got on your games, Andrew, that you would consider underrated? And I just want to point out, I swear to God, if No Man's Sky is on this list.
Well, funny you should ask. No, I wouldn't do that yet. No, so my first one is a game called Greedfall. So it's like it's an 18th century fantasy game, and yeah, it's just like it's a really great story. Graphics are all right. It was a PS4, kind of got ported to the PS5 as well, but really amazing story. Some more questionable acting, voice acting in it. I think it's like the Donegada, like the native people on the island. It's like a weird kind of Celtic /
Ooh, I like that.
Well, you do until they talk long enough and realize
What's
it's
the
not
slash?
quite Celtic. It's there's something else in there as well.
They're just trying their best.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like the storyline and the acting in it is very good as well. But the accents just they throw you a bit. But I have to say, it's such a great game, and it just kind of it was such a neat. I only came across it on like PlayStation Store because it was going cheap once, and I go, I'll just pick this up. And
Give me an example of this accent.
I couldn't even
live
begin.
on air.
Oh, yeah. Excuse me,
how comfortable are you with embarrassing yourself for our listeners, Andrew? Just out of curiosity, because I have brought up the Metacritic score here. What score do you think it should fall on?
I would somewhere put like the 80 to 85 kind of thing. But
okay. Then you're in your eyes, it's certainly underrated. It's gotten a 72.
Yeah, no, it's like it is a very enjoyable game, and I mean the combat aspect of it is brilliant. Like Claire was playing as well. You could dumb down the combat to next to nothing and just enjoy the story kind of thing.
Nice.
I found the combat to be really like you're fighting. It's kind of like you'd be fighting small monsters. You can duck and dodge and use magic against them, or use guns or swords, whatever we want to go for. But then you fight like massive tree style size monsters, and just really enjoyable.
So what are we saying? Action RPG or just
RPG? Kind of like almost how like Final Fantasy 15 would play thing, because I obviously never played 16, so I don't know. But
like teaming up with allies. That's
yes, you have at any given time you have 2 other allies with you.
Oh, okay.
And then other people can join fights. You can have like big battles, whereas you're 3 and 2 or 3 other people helping you against several dozen enemies at once. But for the most part, it's you're 3 against whatever you happen to come across in the wilds. But no, really enjoyable game. I'd say graphics quite good. Storyline was brilliant. Voice acting was a little naff at times. But
go on.
Not even attempting it. I'm sure Darren can play some clip at some stage, but not even attempting it.
But I want to hear you.
I don't do accents at the best of times. I'm going to do one on the podcast, making an absolute tit of myself.
I would definitely do an accent on the podcast. No problem. Like, I will embarrass the fuck out of myself.
What do you think they'd sound like, Craig?
I have no idea. Like, is it Roman or like what? Like,
no,
you said Celtic,
it's
or is
like,
it more like the Fable?
It's weird. It's
like goofball characters.
It's like there's a weird kind of oldish Irish lilt to their accent, but it's very off-putting when you hear it at the start. I don't know how to describe it. You'd have to hear it to think, but it's very. You get used to it, but it takes you a while to get used to it. And while you're trying to get used to it, you're kind of going, "Oh, what is this?"
Now, I'm just judging this by what's appearing on my screen in front of me, so I haven't actually done any background checks, so feel free to tell me I'm wrong, listeners, at the Gift of Game and podcast@gmail.com, but it looks like there's a Greedfall 2, The Dying World.
Yes.
It's something you're excited about.
I'm looking for it because, I mean, if it's as good as the first one, it would be a great game, in my opinion. Like the first one, like I know where it would go from, where the storyline would go from the first one, and I'm really excited to see where that goes.
Okay, and lovers of what kind of game should give Greedfall a try?
Ooh, I'd say RPGs, but I mean, lovers of a good story. If
Nice.
you enjoy playing
Yep.
a good story, this is a good one to go
Or
for.
reading a good book, you know.
Or, yeah.
I like it just to be a bit more actiony.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's as I say, the storyline is really good, and if you can just put aside the fact that the Donegada have this very strange accent, it's really good. And I say you play as like the Destardet of the merchant congregation, and you go into this island to find a cure for your people who are like afflicted with this disease, and it's basically the entire story is you trying to find this cure, and it's just really good.
Yeah.
Really well thought out story.
One of them ones that went under the radar a little bit, do you think? Because I mean, I don't remember hearing much
That's the thing. I never
cheer around it.
It was never a case of this wasn't a case of this game is launching, you should pick it up. It's like, no, this is just I found it on sale on PlayStation.
But the fact that it has a sequel in the works is pretty good. Like, you know, none of the games on my list have sequels, nor will have a sequel.
Because they're so underrated.
Yeah.
Well, Craig, speaking of your list, what one of your games which is not getting a sequel do you consider underrated?
I guess I'll start with one of the more popular ones. I don't even know if it's popular, but it was supposed to get a sequel, but that has disappeared off the face of the earth. If you can already guess the game I'm talking about. Like, the sequel for it was announced like 7 or 8 years ago, and then it just nothing came out after that.
Oh, I kind of want to have a good guess at this.
Yeah, I don't want to keep us here too long, but I mean, I can pad out the episode.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure the listeners would enjoy silence while we like think.
Let's
about
ponder this for a moment.
What's my deep thought?
Yeah, I mean, I was originally going to say, Perfect Dark, but Perfect
That's
Dark
very close.
is an underrated. Gears of War.
No, but I guess the art style looks similar to Perfect Dark, and it's also a female lead character.
Female lead character, similar to and we're talking a Nintendo 64 graphics Perfect Dark, right? Or do you mean the Xbox?
Well, I got this
reboot?
game. This game came out for the GameCube. I like how this is going.
It's like a fun little guessing game.
Yeah. I don't know if you will get it, so maybe I should just say it.
I'm going to be disappointed in myself, but go ahead.
It's Beyond
Good and Evil.
Good and Evil.
Oh, okay,
Nice.
very good.
Did
Yeah.
any of you ever play that game?
No.
I think I played it for 10 minutes once, and I always meant to get back to it, but just everything else kind of came in between.
A really fun Zelda-style game, kind of Metroidvania, where like you're on this planet, but like it very much feels like maybe like a Cowboy Bebop or whatever. Like you're on maybe one of maybe a federation of planets, that type of thing. Like the technology, there's spaceships everywhere, you know. But like you're kind of like you live in this kind of orphanage. It's kind of cartoon-esque, similar to like Cowboy Bebop or the Zelda games, that type of thing. And you're an orphan looking after another bunch of orphans, and then all this kind of crazy stuff happens on the planet that you get involved with. And there's a great mixture of, say, like photography with like trying to capture like every species that happens to be on the planet. There's all sorts of different
When you say photography, do you mean that's kind of like that's part of the gameplay?
It's part of the main gameplay. Kind of one of the main ways you get money is doing this little side quest where you're trying to like build an encyclopedia of every race on the planet. And to do that, you take pictures of them and then upload it, and then someone gives you the money for it or whatever. But that's just one of the kind of funny aspects of the game. But generally speaking, you're just kind of going to all these dungeons with one of your buddies. There's your Uncle Page, who's this pig character with a wrench. He's very like charismatic, kind of lovable uncle, really caring, all that type of stuff. But there's like loads of different actions you can give him to make him like solve like interact with a puzzle or give Jade a boost or whatever, you know, those type of things. Like it's co-op type dungeon crawling, but you just input commands to him and he'll do it. Like, but it's one of those games that critically did great. I think it has something like a 9.1, maybe even 9.3
Oh,
or
wow,
something.
okay,
like,
yeah.
those were the kind of scores it was getting, but nobody bought this game. So like I got it at launch and it was €20. And I was like, why the hell is this game €20? And apparently it was one of those ones that Ubisoft, Prince of Persia Sands of Time, and Beyond Good and Evil, they both dropped considerably because nobody bought them and they had to like drop the price. Not something I'd ever seen very often in video games, but I was delighted with this because that was one of the best €20 I ever spent.
The cover has brought me flashbacks that I think I might have actually dabbled in this back in the day, the cover. But it's very, you're right, it's very Perfect Dark or Time Splitters kind of graphics.
That's a kind of vibe to it as well. Yeah. But it was just one of those ones where like every time you did a level, you got a new upgrade, like in Zelda or Metroid. And like you had this hovercraft that you used to travel the world. But like eventually your hovercraft could go really fast or make big jumps, and then towards the end of the game, like you'd just be flying along and you could press a button and a spaceship would dock with you and fly you into the air, and then you're just flying around in a spaceship. Like the upgrades got great, like you know? So it was always great to like get through a level or a dungeon to get to the next upgrade. But it also had a pretty cool story about like the saviors of the planet maybe not being as good as they say they are, you know? So there's just a bit of everything in there, and it was a shame. I don't think the game was marketed very well, because if enough people had played it, they would have loved it, because critically it did great.
It's got an 86, and again, it's like it's the golden era of Ubisoft, some might say, before they kind of dabbled into this.
Because it came out at the exact same time as the Sands of Time did, and both games didn't do well and became kind of like cult classics.
Because Sands of Time is a fantastic
game
as well.
Sands of Time is the one everyone knows. Yes. But Beyond Good and Evil is the one people don't know.
It's like if you're going to have those two games, underrated games at the same time, the Sands of Time is definitely going to even put a bigger shadow on Beyond Good and Evil. Nice choice.
I loved it, and I would love to see that sequel come out, and if more people could give it a chance, it would be great. I think the Xbox did a re-release of it in HD in 2014, so I think if you had like an Xbox One or
you could have played it again.
It's playable at this point in time. Whereas most games, especially the ones on my list, they're not playable.
Unless I'm mistaken, that's actually available on PSN at the moment.
Is it?
It was anyway. Yeah.
Oh, I'd love it, because I mean that was going to be one of my questions to you, Craig. That is it, is it playable now, or is it one of those? Because like right now, as things stand, there's a lot of games that have kind of been lost to the. There's no ports of them, and the games are kind of scabby in terms of certain things don't work in certain ways, and PlayStation isn't really digitalizing their back catalog in what I think is a decent time frame. Like, I mean, we're waiting for lots of things to come in, but there's and their choices, and their choices aren't exactly ideal either. There's a lot of games I'm like, God, like the PlayStation 2 era as well. Like even when I brought up that picture of Beyond Good and Evil, I had the PlayStation box, with the PlayStation 2 font. I'm like, God, that was such a good fucking era of video games, and PlayStation has not caught up with taking so many of those golden games like Beyond Good and Evil. It Sands of Time. I could name so many PlayStation 2 games, but they're just not there. I'm just gonna have a look if it's
yeah, it's a real shame. But I mean, as like even I was watching an old review for it, like, do you know the way like with the Wind Waker, it hasn't aged that much, and this is kind of similar. But there have been a lot of games like it since, so it would be like. It would definitely play like a game from 2004, because that's when it was made. Like, so I mean, like you could, if you hadn't played it at all and jumped in expecting like next level graphics, you're not going to get that. Like it's an old game, and it was doing things that were ahead of its time, but it's now 2024. Yeah, so it is not ahead of its time now. Like, but it's a fun game if you can find it cheap. Like
Interestingly enough, Craig, if this is to be believed, this is a news article from the end of 2023, and this year we're celebrating the 20th anniversary of the game, and it's touted to come out on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and S, and the Switch too.
The original
one, yeah.
That's cool. So it will be re-released,
but that re-release might wake
just
up.
We know how remasters go, Darren. If they gave it the time of day, gave it a solid remake, it could be amazing. But they won't.
No, and they'll reskin that one. It's a HD one. That's a HD job. I'll give you guys a choice. What I'll do first, I can give you my PlayStation 1 underrated game, my PlayStation 2 underrated game, or my PlayStation 4/5 underrated series. What would you like? Where would you like me to start?
I feel like your PlayStation 2 one is a means of just somehow saying that Kingdom Hearts 2 was underrated.
No. Kingdom Hearts 2. Funny enough, I checked the Kingdom Hearts scores.
Of course you did. Yeah, you wanted to try and include it.
No,
and you're like, 90? Damn, that's not underrated. What am I going to do?
I genuinely wanted to see if I thought, based on the Metacritic scores, was there a Kingdom Hearts game out there that was underrated? And funny enough, I checked through the entire catalogue, and everything lies at about where I think it should. I don't think it's I think there's some games that are low scored and...
All of those handheld ones are overrated.
Wow.
Because they don't have a number, and therefore they get away with anything. Like I said last...
God, I'm having flashbacks.
Yeah. Last week, anyone? I can promise you Kingdom Hearts is not on my list there.
Right. I still don't believe you.
Now, he says that, but it may not be called Kingdom Hearts.
What was that weird side one that came out recently? Well, not recently, but it was on the Switch and stuff like that. The City That Never Sleeps or something. But no, it's not that.
Okay. Go for your PS2 one.
PS2 one. You'll like this one, Andrew. Me would have played a lot of this, and I would have played a lot of this with Kev and Luke as well. My underrated game, and I believe it's underrated by its score as well. I'm just going to open my notebook here to remind myself of the score. Is Dynasty Warriors 4.
Oh.
Now, it has received a 78 on Metacritic, which I think is a decent score, but the Dynasty Warriors series definitely got worse as time went on. I think the most recent one they released was Dynasty Warriors 9, which tried to be an open world. It's dreadful. Not great. But Dynasty Warriors 4, and I've included Dynasty Warriors 4 in this list because it was my favorite, but my first experience with the series was the third one. So we got a PlayStation 2 at Christmas, loads of games. Dynasty Warriors 3 was the first disc that we put into the PlayStation 2 the Christmas morning, and we did the Battle of Hulao Gate.
Was that the one that had the it was the Yellow Turban Rebellion, and it was
Yeah.
huge. It was like way
Well,
more.
if we were to play it
yeah.
now, you'd be like, Jesus Christ, the fog of war in this game is outrageous.
Oh.
But at the time, there was like 12 or 13 enemies on screen at one point, and you were fighting them all, and we were like, holy moly, that's amazing.
But it's just like the Agent Smith battle, I suppose. They all fucking look.
They'll wait there.
Yeah.
They'll wait there. Yeah. But it's so much fun. Dynasty Warriors 4 was, and the reason I think it's such an underrated game is, I think from start to finish, like there's a huge amount of content in that game, and especially for like PlayStation 2 prices, like what we paid for that, like 30, 35 euros, pounds when it came out. I can't remember. A cheap enough game, but huge amount of content, and it's based off the Age of the Three Kingdoms in ancient China, Craig, where there was three, the kingdom of Wu, the kingdom of Wei, and of Shu were all battling for dominance in
Let's not forget
in China.
The kingdom of Other.
Of Other, yes, yeah, the other kingdom, yeah, there. But in historically, the kingdom of Wei won, and they took control for a time. But you could play like these campaigns through actual historical battles and kind of write your own history a little bit. Because I love the guys from the kingdom of Wu, and it was cool to see an ending of what would have happened if they had won. But it's a hack and slash. Especially in Dynasty Warriors 4, when things got a bit better, you'd have, 60, you could have like 50, 60 NPCs on screen or in the distance, and it's one of those things where you'd finish a battle and you could have like 600-700 kills. You know what I mean? Your
Wasn't
kill
there
count was
you got a Three Kingdoms award if you got 1,000 kills? In
in a single fight. Yeah. So like it was this, but it was cool. So you'd be running around this map, and it's just a kind of a closed-in map, and you're having this battle. But certain things would have happened. There would have been supply runs. And they would have said, someone would have piped up and said, "I'm in trouble over here. There's a supply run. We need to destroy this." But you could be in a battle that's really intense, and you're trying to protect one or two of the generals there, and you have to make a decision: do I leave? Do I stay? And I remember as a kid playing that game, being like, "This is so fucking exciting." And I go into school the next day, and I'd be like, "Oh, you guys playing Dynasty Warriors 4?" And everyone was like, "The fuck is that?" It was this game that was just really unknown. Like I got Luke and Kev into it because they'd come up to my house, and we'd always do a 2-player co-op. But it was this thing where I was like, I can't believe no one has heard of this game. To the point where I thought was real funny was that, because Andrew, we'd played it so much, we knew a huge amount of the history of the Three Kingdoms. And a movie came out called Redcliffe, this Chinese film kind of done by, I think, some of the guys behind House of the Flying Daggers and other groups. Nice. But we went to see it in, I don't think it was Cineworld, but it was a bit of a smaller cinema because it was an international film, We went to see it, and I remember you, me, and Graham were sitting there, Andrew, and like nothing but like Chinese people here to see this film in Ireland because no one knows anything about this. And I was sitting there like, oh yeah, this is the Battle of Chi Bi where the boats come in and they have to set it on fire. Like I knew everything.
Nice.
But
oh my God, that's going you.
But even in school,
like, video games teach you stuff.
But
it was great.
Like in transition year in school, we had like a military history project to do, and I did so much of it on some of the wars of the Three Kingdoms. But it was a really exciting game, and in each map there was, especially when you got to the hard difficulties, there were certain tasks that you could do that'd be very difficult to pull off. But if you did it, you unlocked a special item, so you could get like new weapons, like ultimate weapons for each of the characters. And the characters, there was like 40 of them, and like 45 of them you could play as.
About that one as well. I think we got so much enjoyment out of playing it as well. Is that you were a huge fan of Wu?
I played as Wu, Graham played as Shu, and you were Wei. So we got the full entire experience.
And then we had one, if I remember right, it was Chang Ban, which was Liu Bei trying to escape.
Yes.
Always playing his way, always get to that one bridge that Zhang Fei is guarding. I was like, yeah, I can fight him and I'll lose. But it's such a good fight.
Yeah. And I remember Graham went over to China as part of his college thing, and he took loads of pictures of statues, but it was the statues of Zhang Fei, Guan Yu, all these characters that I had grown to like really love. Mm-hmm. And I was like, God, it's so, because it's historical, like these people existed, and I know like some of the stuff is fantasized, like in terms of what they were capable of, because in the battle you're talking about, Andrew, it's said that Zhang Fei stood on the bridge and none of the army passed, and he gave enough time before he died defending this bridge.
600 people.
Yeah, which is all like, is what really happened, what didn't. But I remember just so disappointed talking to so many people, and no one had played this game, and I was like, this is a huge loss. People should be playing this game. It's
this
fantastic.
is the game series that's like that, those Hyrule Warriors and stuff like that.
Yes,
the Warriors.
The Warriors games. That's W Force, and that's Dynasty Warriors was their initial bread and butter.
Right. But visually, those games look shit, right?
The more recent ones look shit, but the ones that were on the PlayStation 2 looked well. I mean, they look good for PlayStation 2, whereas the ones,
because anytime I've seen footage of any of those games, I'm like, every one of those bad guys is just copied and pasted.
Yeah, and they were copied and pasted in the PS2 version as well. But I mean to say is, back then you didn't really care so much because there was so much happening.
Like, I don't want just 100 enemies on the screen just so you can say, look, we got 100 enemies on the screen. I want it to look like there's 100 enemies on the screen. No, it's
just like, even now it looks like just a crisper version of the same graphics from back then. Like,
I'd love a remaster of Dynasty Warriors 4 in the sense that the kind of and Doom is kind of helping me with like the kind of games I want to be playing at the minute. After doing such a heavy thing through Rebirth, I'm like, I really want to pick up and play games. And Dynasty Warriors was a one you'd pick up when you do one map, and it might be 25 minutes. It was perfect. Do you know what I mean? And it was real. It was a real satisfying game loop. You're just absolutely wiping out hundreds of soldiers, and you know some of the characters that you had like really cool moves. The guy I used to always play as for my army had double swords, and one of his moves was like a front flip, and he'd slash down, and this guy's the coolest guy ever. But I was a kid playing that game being like, it's so good, and it's underrated, I think, because no one seems to know, or like none of my crew who were all video game players ever play the Dynasty Warriors series, and I'm like, that's so disappointing.
Well, like you said, it got up to 9, so someone's playing it. Like.
It's and I think it's probably hugely popular in like Japan and China and things like that.
That must be it.
But yeah, like Dynasty Warriors 9, I took a glimpse at, and it looks dreadful. It's one of those series that really kind of, they got so lazy, it was just a rinse and repeat, which is so sad, because I think with the modern day graphics and what we saw with like Monster Hunter Rise, like what you could do,
so much
you could do so, and I wouldn't want it to. It doesn't need to look like a Last of Us Part 2 graphics or whatever, but they have become lazy with it, and it's a game I think that's a recipe is so good and has such longevity. That's mine. Andrew, what else you got for us?
Well, my next one, I don't know if I have quite as much detailed information now as you got out of Dynasty Warriors, but
I just love that game so much.
Yeah, we played a lot of that. It is one I think you will know, and I don't know what score this would have gotten, but no one I know apart from you or Graham has ever heard of this game before.
Project Eden.
No.
Damn it.
Yeah. I was going to go for that, and I realized, and we already talked about that one on episodes. This is one that I don't think we've spoken about anyway. Future Cop L.A.P.D.
Oh, great choice. Yeah,
that no one's heard of.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't.
No one has, as far as I know. Everyone I say to it is like, have you ever heard that? I was like, no. All right, everyone's just missed out on that particular one.
It's funny. I just went on to, this has got to show you how unknown it is. I went onto Metacritic to get the score.
I probably don't have a score for
Future Cop L.A.P.D. released 1998. TBD. No one's rated it.
Jesus. Yeah, no, it's a thing. No, I mean, like that was one of those games that I had so much fun playing, and I think it was because we played the 2-player the split screen on it quite a lot.
And it was one of the rare games back when we were kids or back when we were younger that I actually enjoyed. I mean, I never really, when I was younger, enjoyed playing competitive games against you and Graham, because as the youngest brother I was always the worst, but Future Cop L.A.P.D. was a competitive like PvP game that I actually really enjoyed.
There was an element of luck in that literally, like, you could be a pro and still lose horribly, you could be brand new to it and still do pretty well, although it was just the 3 of us playing, so I mean,
yeah. It was you were a cop, Craig, who drove around.
You were a police robot in 2098 Los Angeles, if my memory serves me correctly.
That's fine memorizing.
And the idea was that like you had to take the turreted areas in the map, and that would increase how many points you'd make, which allowed you to build more either little tanks in the ground or flying helicopter things.
Okay.
And then if you got enough points at a go, I think it was like 50 points at a go, you could create either a flying fortress, which is like a big flying ship in the sky, took loads to take down, or a dreadnought on the ground. And the idea is these all followed step paths, like a tower defense kind of game. And you were basically the little robot.
Kind of almost like the basis for League of Legends in a way. It was like a tower defense kind of.
I think it was the basis for a lot of the kind of the tower defense games that came.
Think of Fort Condor, Craig.
Okay.
Oh yeah, very very similar to that kind of thing. But it was like really kind of grungy LA vibe kind of thing to it, like
punky,
dark, dark and raining, and
if it's called Future Cop, I assume it's
RoboCop.
Yeah.
But no, it was very very good, because it was just like you'd have a battle going on in the center of the map where one person sent all their forces in, the other person sent all theirs. Kind of a bit like
Mushroom
Wars. Well, Mushroom Wars, if you ever played that.
Never played Mushroom Wars.
No.
Should have added that one in as well. But yeah, no, it's you build up all your forces and you send them into battle, and the idea is you're trying to send more force than the other person has. So if you take more of the areas, you slowly push them backwards. And then the idea is if you create a dreadnought, the game has this really AI kind of always going, dreadnought activated. At which point the other person freaks out because they're pretty much screwed at that point.
It was a scary game to play because I always preferred doing the 2-player with like you or Graham, Andrew. But it was a scary game, Craig, that I played by myself because I can't remember, like 1998, I was 7 or 8 playing that game. But when you played a 1-player, the AI was like, the computer was an AI that like spoke, and as you were beating it or losing against it, it would narrate some stuff, and it had this really like unsettling voice being like, you will never beat me. And I'd be like, I was like quite scared of it as a kid. But yeah, that was a fantastic game. I often think about that in terms of I'd love some kind of, I would not even a remaster. Just give me
just like
a
it to
port.
appear on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
the other ones are like there's a few PS1 games that pop up, but I mean they're
It's
terrible.
what I'd love to just know what their plan, PlayStation's plan is for these older PS1, PS2, like the classics, because I've looked at the top tier PlayStation membership and I'm like, it's crap. Like the retro games available there are, not to say none of them. There's very few of them that I'm like, I wouldn't pay the extra, what is it, like 60, 70 quid for the year for this collection of classics. I think back on PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1, like Future Cop L.A.P.D. and the Dynasty Warriors collections and stuff. I'm like, why is none of this? But again, I'm talking about very obscure games, I guess, which is probably why it's not there. But I wish it was.
But yeah, no, that's...
Yeah, fine choice. Craig, what you got for us?
Let's see. My second one. All of mine are from the exact same kind of time period. All of these could be within a few weeks of each other. Oh, this one I'll go for. I think it was in 2008. It came out for the Wii, and it was a game. I mentioned it before on the podcast, but I can't remember in what context. I'm just going to like talk as though that didn't happen. So, Little King's Story. I don't know if any of you have heard of it. Little King's Story is a wonderful little game, cartoony, that's very much like, say, Pikmin. Except instead of playing as an astronaut, you play as this little like 5-year-old, 6-year-old boy who is given a crown, and he puts it on his head, and then this kind of old man runs over and is like, "Oh, you must be the king," and then like gives you a crown, and then you're in this kind of magical world called Alpoco, and it's just you and this old man, and you've these two faithful servants. One's just this like fat guy who's really lazy, and there's another girl and she's just kind of braiding her hair and not paying any attention or whatever. And basically your job is to take over the world. So it's really funny, and the music is really great, and the old man is really rooting for you. It's like, you can do it, but you just go outside into your so-called kingdom, and everyone's just kind of laying about doing nothing, so you kind of round up a villager and you send them over into like this farm, and by sending him over into this farm, he becomes a farmer, and when he comes out, he's just suddenly able to put crops on the land and stuff like that, and like start making resources. And then you get this other guy who's got maybe a shield or a kind of like a stick that he's using as a sword, and you grab him and you just send him into a barracks, and now all of a sudden he comes out and he's battle hardened and got all this armor on. He's ready for business, and as you're running around the world, you'll see these kind of monsters, and you kind of go, okay, well, I'll take 3 of my soldiers there, and you just kind of pressing the A button, the soldiers just kind of run forward, and they just start attacking the monsters, and like everything is just kind of happening automatically. Like your soldiers are running around screaming for their lives while jumping on top of these big monsters and hammering away, but they're so small compared to all the monsters. And you can, like, generally at the start you have maybe 5 to 10 at once, and like, so there's a farmer, then there's a soldier, then eventually you can get archers and like builders, so you can get towards a road.
It's speaking to me on so many levels now.
It's just so good.
Can I just interrupt here for a second? Because just when you said that, and just so I have all my notes here on my phone for things I bring up or things I need to remind myself of, right?
Yeah.
So if you look there at Steam game towards the bottom of the next Steam game I want to get my hands on,
Little King's Story.
Oh, is that on Steam?
It's apparently it was showing up on Steam. I saw it on Steam. I was like,
if it's on Steam, I'm getting it. Like,
I'm just looking at the an underrated game. This might not fit in the category, Craig, because it's on an 87.
But that is a high score, but nobody bought it. Like it did not
underrated. Like I think.
Well, all 3 of mine are great games.
Yeah,
And critically, they should be great games, and they are great
but
games.
they weren't
But
overly
they're never
popular.
really
Nobody
enough.
bought them,
Yeah.
and that's why we're on a podcast. We need to spread the word. And like,
If
I
we're
want
here for nothing
sequels.
else.
If I get a sequel to any one of these 3 games, I'm gonna pat myself on the back and say I did that.
I did that. That's how far-reaching the Gift of Gaming podcast is, ladies and
But
gentlemen.
it's just, it has that adrenaline rush of just you run off around the world and you're just kind of exploring a bit of an area, and you fought 3 or 4 giant monsters, and you run over and you collect all that gold, and you're using that to upgrade your town, which as you go from area to area, you have to defeat all the 6 other kings of the land, and each of them are just funny characters who just want to live their life. Like, you're kind of the bad guy. You invade them and wreck their kingdom and stuff like that. Like, the morals of the story are very all over the place. You're even marrying each world's princess, and they're like old mature women, and you're this 5-year-old kid. Like, you know, like, it's very weird but very fun. And just as you build up your kingdom, you're building, like, you know, barracks and extra plate, like tower defenses, even though nobody ever goes near you. Like, but you have like barracks and walls everywhere, and even like your village gets better and better, and eventually while you're running around it, all the villagers who you've turned into farmers, archers, swordsmen, all this, they are all just interacting with each other and walking around, living their lives in the city that you've
So
been
it's almost
creating.
like in a sim. It's kind of
It's
like
almost
just
like the Sims type thing. But I mean,
yeah.
like, you can't choose exactly what they just kind of do whatever they
No,
want.
but like just nice to just sit back and just watch
But
for a while.
anytime you build something, you're just kind of like, I wonder if Dimitri's going to go over and sit down on that
Have a
bench
look
there.
at
And like 2 characters be sitting and they're just having a conversation, then love hearts appear over their head, and then they run into the church, and then they just come out, and then a stork just drops down with a baby. Like that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just really, really fun and cute. But as you go and explore the lands, the game has so much depth, like so many great villains and so many great ways to like defeat them with the different ways that you use the units. Like, one of the bosses, he's from this kind of TV land, and it's just a quiz. He just keeps giving you like questions to answer, and if you don't answer correctly, he just starts sending airplanes and stuff, like really old school 1960 like King Kong airplanes,
Spitfires
actually,
and stuff like that.
you know?
Yeah.
And one of the kings lives on the top of a mountain, and the only way he will like commune with someone is if they are taller than he is, and because he's standing on top of the mountain, he's the tallest person in the world, so you have to climb the mountain and then stack on top of all your like individual units to get taller than him. Like, it's full of fun, it's full of joy, and if it's on Steam, I'm getting it tonight.
Wow. Okay. That's a fine option. I like that. And like, I even like looking it up there in the Metacritic score again, seeing the cover for it, I was like, that looks like a cute, fun,
it's just
easy kind of game.
Like, when I got home from England, I bought Little King Story and lost my life for about 2 months. I did nothing, and I was really supposed to be looking for a job then, but like Little King Story consumed me. I was like, no,
my job is taking over this kingdom.
Yeah.
Damn it!
But
No,
I don't
like
regret anything. It was a great game, and I urge
worked out for you,
anyone
Craig.
to get it. They re-released it on the PSP with altered graphics, and it was nowhere near as visually pleasing or as good. And it's PSP, so nobody ever fucking bought that shit. But I'd be annoyed if the Steam version is the PSP version,
which it could be as
Which it
a
could be.
port. It could be. Well, wait and see, 'cause that'd be amazing for what's on Steam. My next one on my list is, I know you said, Craig, that Crash Bandicoot was a seriously overrated franchise when we were talking last week, but there's a particular Crash Bandicoot game that I was a massive fan of as a party game when we were younger.
I know where this is going.
A good old game called Crash Bash, which had all the Crash Bandicoot characters in a kind of like there was no map like a Mario Party game, but it was full of mini games that you and your mates could play. So it was a 4-player, and it was one of those joyous occasions where because it was you, me, and Graham, we always had like the multi-tap, like the PS1 L-shaped multi-tap to stick
You
in
even needed a multi-tap to play it multiplayer.
Back in the day, man. Yeah, we weren't Nintendo 64 owners, like, you know.
Because the PlayStation sucks at multiplayer. Like,
It
a
does,
multi-tap,
yeah.
having
It
to
does,
buy that's outrageous.
That's a good business thing, you know, because we paid for it, and we paid for the multi-tap for the PS2 as well when that came
big chunky
out.
block thing, yeah.
But it was so much fun in that it was a game that I brought to any party. Like, if I was going over to a mate's house for a birthday party when I was younger, it was always like asking Andrew, Graham, can I borrow the multi-tap? I think it was your multi-tap, Andrew. I was like, can I borrow the multi-tap? And bring that down and grab a controller and bring it to someone's house. And Kev or Luke or our friend Steve, and we all like, everyone would have brought a controller as well. We would have sat there and I would have had. And it was funny because it was that time we had PlayStation 1 discs, and this game was played to death by a fucking 11 and 12-year-old that the disc was in bits, like,
it
you know,
was destroyed,
smudged and scratch. So there were some days you turn it on down at someone's house and it wouldn't load up. You'd be like, oh, so you'd be like,
break it.
the Russian clean into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it was great in that it's a party game that I think doesn't really get any kind of acknowledgement at all. Like it had, you could choose from the classic collection of Crash Bandicoot characters: Crash, Coco, Tiny, Brains, Neo, Cortex, and stuff like that. The entire group was there, but had games like you would all be in it was like a pinball, Sterling, kind of like a pinball cart. And you'd have a square arena, and you have to protect your exit, essentially. So these pinballs would go smashing around.
It was like a Hungry Hippos in reverse.
Exactly. You just have to make sure none of them pass you. There was like a pogo stick game where, like in honor of fighting, what was the crazy character? The Ripperoo. In honor of him, they had like one where you would be jumping around, and every step that you landed on, you'd color in your color. There were certain arrows or bonuses that you'd get, so you'd be trying to pogo stick as much of the area as you could. But the other guys that you were playing against could like shoot you with a missile, overtake your colors. And I just remember as a kid it was so simple but like really entertaining. It was just like playing a Mario Party game with just the mini games, and there was a massive collection of them, and it was always like you meant to do best of 3, but we do best of 5, best of 9, best of, just to keep it going. And it was one that I checked the score, it's a 68 I think on Metacritic. 68. So I think I like even
Mario Party I'd say has around the first Mario Party 1 and Mario Party 2 are excellent. They're fucking amazing, and I'd say they have around an 8.5 I would say
for the Mario Parties. Yeah.
So do you reckon it's as good as a Mario Party?
I don't think it's as good as a Mario Party, but I believe it's better than 68 for sure. So Mario Party 76, 79, 80. I'll go back to the early Mario Parties.
The Mario Party,
the Mario Party scores are actually fairly rubbish.
Oh no! After Mario Party 2, they're shit.
Yeah,
for
yeah.
About 10 years.
Yeah, yeah.
They released the one decent one on the Wii U or Switch. No, I think it was the Switch one.
I think
where we could high five.
No, I think it was the Crash Bash was the PlayStation equivalent. So if you didn't have access,
well, that's what I mean. Like to compare it to Mario Party is fair because generally these games stand on their own. Like there's nothing really like them. So it's best to compare them to the next best thing.
Yeah.
Or best thing, which would be Mario Party 1 or 2. Because this is about 1999.
It's 1999 exactly, yeah, I think, for Crash Bash. And Mario Party was out at 1999. Oh, no, Crash Bash might have been 2000 or something. But yeah, in around the same time. But yeah, it's like 68 compared to the Mario Party 79. And I think that is underrated. I don't think it has the same charm as a Mario Party. And I think the Mario Party recipe is so good, like the board game as well as the mini games is such a good way to play a game. But it was one of those ones that I got so much fun, and I remember like sides hurt, face hurts from laughing and playing that game with my mates. It was one that we always were like, oh Darren, bring Crash Bash, anytime we were going up to a mate's house we'd always play it. So severely underrated. And I know it's a Crash Bandicoot game, and I'd agree with you. I think Crash Bandicoot as a franchise is overrated, but this is kind of like the gem in the collection that I think it's not the platformer recipe. It's just a really fun game that wasn't really talked about, that isn't rated that highly, that I had so much fun with.
68 compared to 79, and yet you say the 79 game is better. So where do you think, what score do you think it should have got then? Would that be disastrous?
75. I think 75 to 80 would have been fair for Crash Bash. Yeah. From my perspective, in terms of how fun it was and the time it came out. Like, we're not talking, if that came out today as a modern game, it'd be absolute trash. It'd be awful, But I think when it came out, I was like, this is a lot of fun.
Maybe
and
not many people bought it then either. Because I doubt a lot of people would get the multi-tap.
And that's it. Like, I mean, as a one-player game, it was fairly shite.
Shit.
Yeah. It was a real party game, And I think we made the most of it, having the 4 controllers and the multi-tap or whatever else. So, yeah, an exceptional kind of way to play the game. Andrew, do you want to give us your last one?
Yeah, I'll give 3 really quick honorable mentions, just because I had a load of things I thought would be on this list, and then I'll do the last one. So, really quick, one of them was Speed Freaks.
Oh, fine choice, yeah.
Great game.
Which, again, like, it was great, and I think I would use the multi-tap for that as well.
Yep.
Such a fun game, such a fun racer, like Mario Kart for the PlayStation.
But to date, I still think it's one of the best feeling racing games that I've played ever.
Oh yeah, no,
definitely. Is that one more like Micro Machines, that type of game?
No, it'd be Crash Bandicoot, or it'd be like Mario Kart in style, but they had its own, and it was an Irish development team that did it as well. I can't think of their name now, but just really interesting characters, really interesting, fun power-ups. One of my favorite ones was the pop, and if someone had pop, and they're really cool, and like even the it looked cool. Like the animation of the actual icon looked great as well. But if you use pop, everyone's tires on the track would begin to inflate until they popped. But if you tapped X really, really fast, which slowed down your speed, you could deflate them.
I like that.
But the funniest thing was that Graham, when we played, he could never hit the buttons as fast as me and Andrew. So anytime pop, because you'd hear, like I can even hear the noise of pop in my head right now. You just hear Graham cursing because he could never stop it. Whereas me and Andrew would be like, oh yeah, you've got away from this type
and
thing.
It was one of those, like I think it was the character, like I always remember playing as Tabitha, but it was one of those ones that like there was some really hard challenges to unlock the
secret characters.
The dog that I can never remember the name.
Cosworth.
There you go. I think it was a metal or robot character or something in it as well, wasn't there?
Beamer.
There you go. I think once we got him, that was me for.
And
for
Tetsuya
life.
Was the other secret character.
Yeah, it's such a good game. Thing. So that's one honorable mention. The other one was Vigilante 8.
You think that's underrated?
I think that was so. Like, I had a lot of fun playing that game, but it's one of those ones that again is probably not really heard of after it came out. Like it's.
Do you know Vigilante 8, Craig?
I do not.
It's
okay. Maybe it's just maybe it was just an hour.
So it was like a 2-player, almost destruction derby kind of thing between 2 players, but you're using different power-ups and stuff to destroy the other player. But it was just so much fun because it was just like chaos driving around trying to. Like from different sides of the arena, firing shit like rockets and stuff across the arena, trying to destroy each other.
Interesting. It's not rated. The only one that is rated is the Vigilante 8 arcade version that came out for the Xbox 360, ranked at 58. So I think you might be right. That's definitely an underrated honorable mention.
But that was that one. Third honorable mention, just for shits and giggles, No Man's Sky, because of the start. It was very much underrated, but I had to throw it in because Kev just mentioned it. I have to throw it in there.
I think it was rated quite well for how it started.
For what it is now. Anyway. But literally just quick honorable mention just to annoy Kev. But no, my last one is a game called Sky Children of the Light.
So, don't think I know it.
Yeah. It came out for PS4. It was a free game, and it is one of these ones that has massive amounts of microtransactions. But the game itself, the playstyle of the game, it's a really it's from the guys who made Journey.
Nice.
And it is.
That was an overrated game.
Well, fucking it was actually. No, I mean I really love Journey, but I think
Journey,
I don't know if it
Game
deserved
of the year.
accolades.
But
That's outrageous.
Now, right,
yeah, that's
no.
funny.
So the idea behind this one is it's the same kind of almost the same kind of graphics. It's the same kind of play style as well. So you can slide across the ground, you can kind of fly out your cape, and you can increase your flying time as big your cape is. But it's very much an online multiplayer game. So the idea is you'd walk up to someone. So when you go into like the hub area, everyone else is like a shadowed kind of ghost version of their person. So when you walk up to them, you hold up a candle to them, and as a Children of the Light, if they want to be hang out with you, they'd hold up their candle. The 2 candles merge, and they have color bleed into them, so you can actually see what the character looks like.
Oh, that's cool.
And then the idea is you can just it's such a chill game. Like you go from island to island freeing spirits, and to go to the island, you literally just launch yourself into the sky, and you just glide through.
I'm just there when I'm on Metacritic here. The trailer is playing in the background while I'm just looking at the score. It looks very good. But one of the great reviews here from just a user review, as you said, it's very chill. They've just given it like a 9 out of 10 and said calm.
Yeah.
What's the full title?
Sky Children of the Light.
Yeah.
And it is. It's just like it's now. I will say one annoying part of it is that there's not a tutorial that I've found. And it gives you a lot of stuff to deal with straight off the bat. So it
depends. It depends on the kind of game, but sometimes no hand holding, no tutorial, it's kind of right up my street.
Well, this is certainly in for that, and it's a free game. It's really easy to get into. I think a lot of the cosmetics are what you pay for, because everyone I see looks almost identical to me, bar a hairstyle.
Okay, so
I do remember this one coming out.
Yeah, so you have to obviously pay for your different clothes and stuff you get. You can earn them through the game, but everything seems to be locked behind, like a season pass or whatever else of that. But the gameplay that itself, as I say, flying up into the sky and flying along with the birds, every spirit you free frees up more birds and more spirit animals that fly through the sky, and you can use them to get to higher and higher places. Awesome. But just the music, the graphics, and it's just such a chill game. But like that, I mean, I know it came out 2004 on PlayStation. It released, I think, in April of last year on PC. Could have been in April this year. So there's a lot more people playing it now.
Oh,
but
nice!
Still
I
one
love
of these
that.
Ones that you don't really. There's no real mention of it anywhere. And I only came across it. I happened to come see it was a YouTube short. I think just happened to mention it. And if you like one of these, if you play one game this year, it's like, oh, well, it's free. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
And it is
Yeah.
like, wow, yeah, no, this is actually.
That looks like a nice one. I might give that one a look actually, because just looking at the trailer there, it's kind of like that's
It's
that
calm.
kind of chill. Yeah, calm. Yeah, as your man said.
And it does
calm.
look just like Germany for sure.
Craig, one more to.
Okay. I left this one to last because it's the one I want the sequel the most. That doesn't mean it's better than Little King's Story or Beyond Good and Evil. I'd say all three games are 9 out of 10s for me.
Okay,
They all get 9 out of 10. All three of them are great. But if there was a sequel, and that sequel could have like a lot, it would be for Skies of Arcadia Legends. Which was a game that came out on the Dreamcast, which is why nobody has ever heard of it.
What's a Dreamcast?
A Dreamcast was like popular. I think it was only out for about 1 year, and then Sega just gave
disappeared.
up. But Skies of Arcadia Legend was one of the absolute gems that this console had, and they ported it onto the GameCube, which is how I got it. But for anyone who is a fan of, say, Laputa, Castle in the Sky.
Yeah, my favorite.
This is all about sky pirates. This is an RPG where you play as a young man named Vice, his best friend Aika, and then this mysterious girl named Fina who comes from a land above the clouds that no one can ever get to. And basically she comes to you and is like, hey, we need to get these crystals that can control these giant monsters, because if we don't, they'll destroy the world. And essentially, you embark on this journey to find these crystals with Fina, and it's Vice and Aika, and they team up with a colourful cast all aboard a airship, and you're going to different towns, learning about where these crystals could be and exploring the vast world that is Arcadia. But it's kind of like, say, FF7, except you're given the high wind immediately, But when you get into battle, you're also in battle. Like sometimes you're in battle using the airship itself. So I'll often say you'll get into a battle and you'll just be fighting on the deck of the ship in a fight to fight, but then maybe they retreat back to their airship and suddenly it's your airship versus theirs, and then you have to man the cannons, and it's still turn-based, but you're firing off different cannons with the different characters, or still using your spells or healing or whatever. But because the ships are moving in real time, like depending on their positioning, your shots might miss or hit or be more likely like there could be different obstacles in the way. So it's turn-based, but your ships are moving constantly even while you're picking things. So you have to time your inputs, So like say you were flying around the cliff and then a cannon barrage went off you because you flew around the cliff. Maybe they would hit off of that,
Yeah,
so there's all sorts of different
like
maneuvering you can do,
yeah.
like using the airships. But like one of my favorite things to do in any RPG is when you get to a new town, go and get a new weapon and see what kind of new abilities you would get.
Yeah.
That was even better in this game because you would go to the junkyard or whatever it's called, and all of a sudden you're buying new bits of cannons or new armor for your airship.
Good.
And eventually you would change your airship or upgrade it, or I won't spoil it, but you get a fucking badass airship halfway through the game, which has this deadly special attack that only your airship can do. But it's cool because all the different, like, say, admirals who are in charge of, like, the 5th Fleet, the 4th Fleet, like, it's always just like a Japanese RPG where it's like Velgius in command of the 3rd Legion, and his airship is like specifically designed around his look.
Yes, yeah,
like,
yeah.
So
yeah.
like even his airship just looks like a gun, and even like its special attack is to fire off like a giant shot from the front, and it looks like a pistol. Like the whole ship just looks like a giant pistol, and it fires its special attack. It's like that. And there's another guy who's like really defense orientated, and his ship is just like defensive shit everywhere. And like his special attack is he rams into you with these barbed wire type shit, but his whole ship is made from that, so it's real distinctive. Like you see his ship and you know exactly who's chasing you down, that type of thing, you know. And just the combat, the ship battles, it made for such an interesting, cool game.
Just doing a little bit of looking around there online, do you still have that?
I have it on my GameCube. Yeah,
it's worth a fair few bob. Hard to get. So if you're looking for for CEX here, they're selling it for 150 quid.
They're selling €150.
Most places,
Arcadia.
yeah, and most places. Wow. I was just looking on eBay there. Lots of places are selling it for around 100 quid, but they're all quite far away. So postage is another like 150, 200 quid on top of that.
I get you.
So rare enough game.
Yeah. Well, until it comes out on PlayStation Network or some sort of Sega, I need it. I can't get rid of it because I have to be able to play that if the need arises.
I might take a lend off here because I still have a GameCube back at the parents' house, so I might
definitely worth it. The only thing is though that like when you're in a dungeon like there's 6 dungeons for the 6 areas, but when you're in it, because it's random encounters. Like my biggest gripe with Final Fantasy VI is, you're running around the room and you're just like, where's this switch? And while you're looking, you're getting into fights, and then you're getting irritated because you haven't figured out how to solve the puzzle. All the while, you keep getting into fights over and over. That does happen in Skies of Arcadia, and it's his biggest downfall is that like a couple of times you've ran into a room and you didn't get the key you needed, you have to run back,
and you're just getting,
and that could take an hour
hassles.
because you're getting in 5 or 6 random fights during that time. But the combat is really good, so it is worth doing. There's just no option to turn encounters off. If that option was in the game, it might be a perfect
when they
score.
do a port of it or whatever.
So good.
Yeah. That's a nice one, and I just like I said, it seems to be like a hard enough, like a rare enough game. It looks to be online. Should I mean,
but as
people
well,
are
when
selling
you're
it for a bit of
exploring
money.
the different areas in the world, depending on the upgrades you've got to your airship, you can even explore new areas or rise above the clouds or go below or get through these like almost storms that would otherwise hinder your ship, that type of thing. So there's a bit of Metroidvania in there as well while you're actually piloting your ship. Oh, and another massive thing I forgot to mention is that you have a crew aboard this ship, and as you explore different towns around the region, you can hire people to work on your ship.
I love
and
that
those
kind of gameplay
all
loop.
give you perks to your ship, and you can swap them in and out. So like there's more than one person who can pilot the ship. There's more than one person who can be the lookout, and they all have different stats.
I used to look like
and
it was
depending on who you pick, the others will be back at your base and the others will be on your ship, so you have this big community eventually full of like different people who can jump onto your ship.
It was like in
and help you out.
Peace Walker, Metal Gear Solid, where you'd collect the soldiers, and some were like we're really good medics or good engineers, and that kind of collecting like the perfect army, the perfect group. I love that shit.
It has all of that in this as well. Like,
interesting. I might actually have to get a lens. I was just looking at a few bits online. I might get take that off.
Doesn't it look great? I mean, just from the images alone, the art, like, it's one of those games where I'd imagine would still hold up very well today, other than the fact that you can't speed up the combat. If you could speed up the combat, I would play it in a heartbeat. I'd play it right now, but like because you can't do that, I'm like, no, there's a bit of slow moments in there,
Reasonable. Well, because we're running short on time, I'll be very brief with my last pick. Not that this game was underrated. It was very well received, but its timing was awful on both occasions. And the one I'm going to talk about is the Horizon series as a whole. I think it doesn't receive the kind of cheer that it should. 2017 was when Horizon Zero Dawn came out, and unfortunately that year it was up against Breath of the Wild.
It came out the same day.
Yeah.
Same with Elden Ring with the second one.
Yeah, that was exactly it. So like you look at 2017, like its competitors that year were like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is still in the top 10 selling games month by month for Nintendo since its release, and on top of that Breath of the Wild, which was one of the most well received games in recent history. And
totally overrated though.
Horizon. Well, yeah, I mean,
I don't like the first Horizon, yet I love the second Horizon. Isn't that weird?
It's strange, but I think the second Horizon, and this is another thing, the second Horizon for me is the most beautiful game I have played to date.
Same.
It is.
I agree.
It is the only game that I've played on the PlayStation 5 so far that I was like, wow, this is what we're capable of now. And no one is screaming about that in a way that, or no one was screaming about that, even when the game was being played and it was out and it was getting reviewed. I was like, no one's really talking about how just, man, maybe they were and I just wasn't.
Did they come out for PC at the same time and then maybe they're just used to
No, I think PC was, like most kind of PlayStation exclusives, I think the PC release is just further down the line. I don't think it was same day. But like, then you have.
So initially people should have been flabbergasted.
Yeah, and I was.
I was totally. Every time you came over to my house, I was like, "Look at me! I'm just standing on top of a mountain, and all I'm doing is panning the camera around."
And it's not that like the game is between the two. I took the average. It's an 88 out of 100, which I think is a reasonable score because I don't think
you did that on purpose. I bet the second one is higher.
The second one is they're 89 and 87, I think.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
that's very close.
they're really close.
So much better than the first one.
But I think for the first one, it came out with such an interesting concept. I love the conceptual. I think the second one is a much more complete game. I don't, for me, where they went with the ending and stuff like that, and where the third one looks like it's going, doesn't appeal to me as much as the initial story that I first opened. But like 2022, Forbidden West comes out, and it's up against God of War Ragnarok, Elden Ring. Fucking just like what a monster year of video games that was. It never stood a chance. And I think it just never got the kind of I wouldn't even say dominance, but it wasn't in the conversation for as long as it deserved to be. Yeah. And for that reason, I think
some of the side quests were really, really good too.
One of the best side quest games.
Just the main story was lacking. Like they had so much to work with, and then they just chose to pick people who were off on a different planet.
Yeah.
And, like, there was so much here
It was
you could have
crazy,
done.
yeah. And like that's what I mean. I don't like where it's going for the third game now
Yeah.
either. It was a strange choice. I mean, I enjoyed what they were doing, but I was like, I think you could have done better or more.
My main thing now for the third one is because it's one of the things I loved about the second one and the first one as well. Your man, and it kills me, I can't remember his name, who does the voice
died,
for
didn't
Silence.
Yeah.
He died there a few months
He's
ago.
got a great little memorial in game. They updated it, they patched it, and there's a memorial for him in Forbidden West that you can go and visit, which is quite cool.
Great voice actor.
He did the voice for it's the lead guy from Destiny, like the main.
Oh, the Admiral fella, yeah. I can't think of his name.
They had a lovely little ceremony for him as well. They all lined up on the reach point for the city.
I remember seeing pictures
that as well.
Yeah,
that was brilliant. That was really nice.
But I mean, what game do you think Horizon fucking Part 3? What game does that release with to make sure that one goes under the fucking
God of War?
Again?
The next one will come
probably
out.
Probably will be God of
on
War
that level because Elden Ring and Zelda were huge. Like what's the next biggest franchise? You know?
Yeah, I can't think of it.
The makers of Zelda and Elden Ring get together and release a massive game on
same
the day.
day. Same day.
Well, I mean, they should have known. They should have moved their date.
Yeah,
like,
they
you
should.
know?
Yeah,
They should have realized
they
were not going to win this.
Yeah,
like going toe to toe with those type of games wasn't smart. Like you were never going to win
because they don't have the same pedigree as the likes of a Zelda or a God of War. Like, and they're still relatively like the Horizon and Aloy as a character are all still relatively new in the video gaming world. But yeah, great games. They're ranked highly, but just never really spoken about as much as I think they should have been, considering what they were. Especially Forbidden West, the most beautiful game I've played to date.
I think even that walking around, I think it's like the swamp areas we're in amongst all the ferns when it's raining. It's just beautiful. It's incredible. The graphics are insane.
Putting a pair of headphones on with 360 sound on it was, and like you're getting creeped out because you can hear a monster or a dinosaur robot thing behind you somewhere further off the distance. Great game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our list of underrated games. If anyone out there has an underrated game that you think we should have included, let us know at thegifttedgamingpodcast@gmail.com. And if you're interested in more content, myself, Craig, and Andrew are going to have a little quick look at our next round of the Gift of Gaming Battle Royale Season 2. If you want to check that out, go to patreon.com/thegiftoFgaming. Every little help and helps, and it's only the cost of a coffee. A smorgasbord of things to listen to. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I didn't mess it up. Craig and Andrew, thank you so much for hopping on. Appreciate it as always. Great choices. And to our listeners, as always, and forever, until next time, keep enjoying the gift that is gaming. Peace out.